My name is Margaret, and I turned 73 last spring in my small cottage by the coast. I've been thinking lately about how different everything looks from this side of life, like I've finally climbed high enough up the mountain to see the whole landscape below. When I was younger, living in the city, working at the hospital, I thought I understood what mattered. I was wrong about almost everything. I remember my 30s vividly. I was a nurse at City General, raising 2 kids, trying to keep a marriage together, and constantly measuring myself against some invisible standard I'd created. Every day felt like a performance review I was failing. I worried endlessly about what Dr. Henderson thought of my competence, whether the other mothers at school pickup judged my wrinkled scrubs, if my sister's family thought we lived in too small of a house. I carried these concerns like stones in my pockets, growing heavier each year. Now, sitting here with my tea, watching the gulls through the window, I can barely remember why any of that mattered. The strangers whose opinions consume me have faded like old photographs. Dr. Henderson retired 15 years ago. The school pickup mothers scattered to different states. My sister tells me now she was too worried about her own life to ever judge mine. I spent decades performing for an audience that was never really watching. They were all too busy performing for their own imaginary crowds. The flawless life I was chasing never existed. I wanted the magazine perfect home, the effortless career, the children who never struggled, the marriage without arguments. I postponed joy, telling myself I'd relax once everything was right. But there's always another leak, another conflict, another imperfection. The cottage where I live now has uneven floors and drafty windows. I love it more than any house I've ever had. The imperfections make it real. My career accomplishments shrink in the rearview mirror. I was so proud when they made me head nurse of the cardiac unit. I thought that title defined me. I kept the nameplate for years. When my daughter cleaned out my storage unit last year, we found it in a box. She didn't even know what it was. That's when I understood. The title was nothing. What stays with me are the hands I held, the comfort I offered, the young nurses I mentored, not the position, but the presence. There was a patient I lost in 1987. Marcus was his name, young father, sudden cardiac arrest. I replayed that night thousands of times, wondering if I'd missed something, if I could have saved him. For 30 years, that failure shadowed me. Now I know I did everything I could. The outcome wasn't mine to control. I've let Marcus rest, and in doing so, I've let myself rest too. I also stopped trying to map out what's coming. I used to plan obsessively: retirement funds, emergency supplies, backup plans for my backup plans. Then my husband died suddenly at 64, just months before we were going to travel like we'd always dreamed. All that planning couldn't prevent the loss, but it did prevent me from fully experiencing the present we had together. These days, I don't know what next month holds. I'm surprisingly okay with that. The furniture I stressed over protecting, just furniture. The clothing I bought to impress, donated or worn out. The gadgets and upgrades and things I thought I needed, meaningless. What I treasure now could fit in a single box. Photos, letters, my grandmother's recipe cards, a smooth stone my son gave me when he was 6. The rest is just taking up space. If I could speak to my younger self, I'd say this: Margaret, stop waiting for permission to enjoy your life. Stop believing that happiness comes after you've earned it through suffering or achievement. It doesn't work that way. The people who truly love you already see your worth. The rest don't matter, and they never did. Your mistakes are just evidence that you were brave enough to try things. Your imperfections are what make you human, not what make you insufficient. The future will arrive whether you worry about it or not. Worrying only robs you of today. And those things you're accumulating, they're not filling the empty spaces inside you. Only love, connection, and presence can do that. I'm writing this from my porch, wrapped in a blanket that's more holes than fabric. The sunset is painting the water gold and pink. My neighbor just waved from her garden. In an hour, my granddaughter will call like she does every Friday. This is wealth. This is enough. This is everything. If you're reading this and you're younger than me, and chances are you are, I want you to ask yourself one question about whatever's troubling you right now. Will this matter when I'm old? If the answer is no, then let it go today. Not tomorrow, not next year. Today. Your heart is too valuable to waste on things that won't last. If this reflection helped you see your life a little differently, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear it. And I'm curious, what's one thing you're going to let go of today? Leave a comment below and tell me. Sometimes naming it out loud is the first step to setting it down. Subscribe to hear more stories from the other side of the mountain. I promise to keep sharing what I've learned so you don't have to wait as long as I did to figure it out.